Hello and welcome to Broadsword Wargaming. My name is Oliver, and in this video I want to talk about a topic that has been buzzing around the Warhammer community. That is Warhammer from the 90s. The big question, was Warhammer really better back then?
Back in the 90s, Games Workshop was already making waves with its intricate miniatures, immersive lore and engaging gameplay. It really was, and still is, an industry leader. But has it managed to maintain the same charm and excitement over the years? I'm going to look at some of the key aspects like the models, the rules and the community and break them down in more detail. We're going to focus primarily on the second edition of 40k, as that was a pretty pivotal and important part of the 90s scene.
For me, my journey started back in 1992 when I got my very first models, the Eldar Guardians. And sometimes I look back at those formative years and wish for simpler times.
While the second edition holds a special place in the hearts of those who experienced it, the game's subsequent editions have also brought their own strengths and innovations, attracting a newer generation of players. One aspect that immediately catches our attention is the quality of the miniatures. Back then, miniatures were undeniably fantastic for their time. Each model had character, with hand-sculpted details that showcased the incredible craftsmanship of the artists. Most kits were composed of metal, which held a certain charm, but they did have their drawbacks.
As technology advanced, so too did the manufacturing process, leading to a significant shift in the materials used.
The rise of plastic began to replace and combine with metal, ushering in a new era for the hobby. Fast forward to today, and the improvement in miniature quality is nothing short of remarkable. Thanks to advancements in digital sculpting and 3D printing, the level of detail and precision has skyrocketed. Miniatures now boast sharp edges, intricate textures, and an unparalleled level of quality that has hobbyists and collectors alike in awe.
But the age-old question remains, are these plastic miniatures truly better than their metal predecessors?
Take, for example, Bjorn the Fell-Handed, a true icon of the Space Wolves and one of the largest lumps of metal I've ever held. He was a glorious sight to behold, but there was always that nerve-wracking fear of dropping him and watching him shatter into a million pieces.
Today, it's safe to say we have the best of both worlds.
The hobby has evolved, allowing us to embrace the nostalgia of the past while reveling in the advantages of modern materials. That said, I've recently gone mad collecting my second edition models, so what do I know? Where do you sit in this one? Let me know.
Second edition was a highly popular iteration which left a lasting impression on the franchise.
It introduced mechanics and concepts that would continue to develop over the years. The game indeed had its charms, but beneath that charm lay some pretty complex mechanics. For example, the combat system involved each model pairing off to fight against another or multiple models. You then roll a number of d6 equal to your attack stat, taking into account any additional modifiers, of which there were a lot. Add the highest weapon skill and then count up the difference. That difference would be the amount of hits you'd make. Combat was a pretty fast and brutal affair. There were also some pretty interesting special rules. For instance, in 2nd edition, a 35-point Nurgle warrior equipped with a plague knife could cause an instant kill on a roll of 6, regardless of the target's wounds. Meanwhile, a D-cannon on a Wraithguard model, once hit, had a 50-50 chance of obliterating anything in its path. Armor penetration involved rolling 1 million different dice, and keeping track of vehicle damage required a separate pen and paper, as you had to determine which part of the vehicle was hit and what effect it had.
Looking at the game today, we find a very different landscape.
The rulebooks have evolved into comprehensive tomes, offering players a deep and immersive experience. While this complexity may seem daunting at first, it has brought a strategic depth to the game that many players now appreciate. The latest edition, the 10th edition, has made efforts to address some of the complexity and bloat that was felt in the 8th and 9th editions. Rules have been streamlined and mechanics have been refined to create a more supposedly balanced and engaging experience. The result is a game that caters to a wider range of players, from casual hobbyists to competitive tournament goers alike. Much like Warhammer 40,000, in the 90s a video game was born that revolutionised the stealth action genre. Metal Gear Solid captivated gamers worldwide with its gripping story, memorable characters and groundbreaking gameplay. Now we take a nostalgic trip down memory lane and rediscover the classic game on modern consoles. Remember the suspense of sneaking through Shadow Moses, the chilling encounters with Psycho Mantis, the epic battles against Metal Gear Rex, and that time you got to sneak under a cardboard box. Relive those nostalgic and iconic moments, but on your current console. Metal Gear Solid was ahead of its time, and now you can experience the game that defined a generation all over again on modern consoles, which makes it a truly modern masterpiece. Whether you're a long-time fan or discovering Metal Gear Solid for the first time, the Master Collection Volume 1 offers the ultimate way to experience the thrill, intrigue, and emotional journey that made this series a timeless classic. With a release date set for October the 24th, 2023, you can pre-order the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 now. Pre-order bonuses include a limited digital soundtrack containing newly recorded orchestral renditions of the iconic themes from the Metal Gear Solid series, including The Best Is Yet to Come, Snake Eater, and more. These tracks will be available to download at launch. Click the link in the description below and secure your copy today. Available for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and Steam. Right, let's get back to the video.
As a seasoned Warhammer player, you probably remember the good old days when finding fellow gamers proved to be a bit of a challenge.
Back then, our gaming options were limited, and the local Games Workshop store or home games were the go-to spots for rolling dice. I fondly recall joining my two older brothers at our local store in Peterborough for casual pickup games on a Thursday evening. During that era, in-store campaigns and events were a rare treat, and the staff at Games Workshop did an excellent job of organising and keeping things running smoothly. But as technology advanced and the internet revolutionised the world, the Warhammer community witnessed a significant transformation. Today, the community is flourishing in the digital realm. Whether you're into painting, battle reports, or delving deep into the lore, you can find it all at the click of a button.
But the evolution of the Warhammer community also brings with it a change to the gaming dynamics.
In the olden days, the notion of meta, the most effective tactics available, I just learned what that meant, wasn't as prevalent as it is today. Breaking an army list to create an unbeatable combination was almost unheard of. Back then, Warhammer felt more relaxed and free-spirited. Perhaps it was the age I started playing, or the player base I engaged with, or even the more lenient approach to the rules balancing. Nowadays, the competitive aspect of Warhammer has become a major focus for many players. The desire to build optimized armies that dominate the battlefield is at the forefront. However, it is essential to remember that Warhammer is a versatile hobby, and each player's experience is unique. Whether you prefer casual, laid-back pickup games or the thrill of competitive meta battles, the community does have something to offer you.
At the end of the day, Warhammer remains what you choose to make it.
After casually examining these aspects, we arrive at the big question: was Warhammer really better in the 90s? It's a subjective matter. The 90s were undoubtedly a golden era filled with nostalgia and a certain charm, but the advancements in technology, the improved quality of the miniatures, the complex rulebooks, and the thriving community of today offer an experience that is undeniably fantastic in its own right. Ultimately, it boils down to personal preference. Some may yearn for the simplicity and rawness of the 90s, while others appreciate the evolution and refinement that Warhammer has undergone. Whichever side you're on, we can all agree that Warhammer has stood the test of time, and it only goes from strength to strength.
I don't want to leave you with a wishy-washy non-answer, so I'm going to pick one. If I had to choose, I'd say the 90s. Yes, the miniatures are undoubtedly better right now. The rules are smoother, and the community is far easier to get involved with. But back then, there was just something more light-hearted about it. It was less serious. The rules were a little more silly, but it just felt to me a little more fun. But that's my opinion. What are yours?
And there we have it. What do you think? What were your experiences back in the day? If you didn't get to play the game in the 90s, is that something you're interested in looking at now? If you've enjoyed this video, please do make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the alarm bell for more videos to come, and check out all of the links down below to help support the channel. There are links to my shop to buy all of your favourite hobby stuff from out in the EU, and access to a Patreon as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.